Hello and welcome to The Works. I'm Ben Che.
And I'm Ben Peltier. Later in the show, how long is a split second? We'll be introducing you to an exhibition of floating or hanging objects that explore the Sanskrit idea of kasana, or the split second, or to be more exact, 0.013 of a second.
We'll be spending rather more time than that listening to the quintessentially Hawaiian instrument, the ukulele. Hawaiian instrumentalist Kimo Hussey was recently in Hong Kong for a workshop and retreat. We caught up with him while he was here.
But first, it's time once again for the annual Hong Kong Arts Festival. For over a month, 1,400 artists from around the world will be giving 119 performances, 15 of which are new works or world premieres.
Today, we're bringing you two very different performances from the festival, an opera from one of Europe's longest established opera theaters, and the Asian premiere of a contemporary take on a folk dance from Bavaria and Tyrol.
The opera house Teatro Regio Torino first opened its doors in 1740 in Turin, Italy. Since then, it has hosted world premieres of many well-known operas. 2 years ago, to celebrate the Verdi bicentenary, the theater remounted Verdi's Simon Boccanegra. Here in Hong Kong, in an exclusive presentation for Asia, Verdi specialist Roberto Abbado conducts.
Opera is something that might be magic when everything works. Singers, staging, orchestra, chorus, and of course conductor, and we are able to blend something together, and then it's something really incredible.
Although he also conducts concerts of symphonic music, Roberto Abbado is one of today's most sought-after conductors of opera. Over the years, he has handled many new productions and many world premieres at leading opera houses. This time, he's come to Hong Kong with an old favorite, the first opera he conducted at the age of 23, Simon Boccanegra.
Simon Boccanegra means a lot to me. It's not just the opera of my debut. It's an opera with whom I grew up because my uncle Claudio, great conductor, was conducting often at La Scala in Milan. So I had the chance to hear him rehearsing and conducting this piece many times. And of course, it's a piece that I've learned also when I was very young. And I've not conducted many times, but I could remember it very easily. Of course, it has changed because we all change during life. Music is endless, and music will always be new and developing. Even looking to old music like Simon Boccanegra is, the way we are looking today to that music is different from how they were looking at that time. We should look to the music of the past with the modern eyes and the modern ears and mind. The opera is settled in Genoa in medieval time, and Silvano Bussotti, who is a great composer and also stage director, staged in a very in a sort of neo-Gothicism, influenced, in my opinion, also by some Islamic characters. Elements, I should say, a bit like there is a beautiful villa in Ravello near Naples in the south of Italy, named Villa Ruffolo, who is a mix of medieval style and Islamic influences. This is, I think, is very much like that. I like both of them, instrumental and opera music, and I like to conduct both of them. I like the mentality of instrumentalist, more defined, But I also admire the liberty that is necessary to make an opera to take off.
It might seem Roberto was destined for music. His grandfather was a violinist and teacher. His uncle, Claudio Abbado, was regarded as one of the greatest conductors of his time. His father is a pianist and a composer. Growing up in such a strong musical environment, Abbado frankly admits that perhaps there was some pressure to become a musician, but he never felt forced into it. Instead, he fell in love with music early, seeing it as his lifelong partner.
I can never forget a great experience that I was doing when my father was practicing piano at home. I was lying down under the piano, and the sound of piano is so big, so loud. I was like my body was vibrating with the music. And then suddenly at the age of 15, I felt in love with music. That's the real thing. And because I had a beautiful experience and I changed my mind and I decided that I wanted to be a conductor. Conductors should lead a group of people to achieve certain goals. It's like a conductor should be able to take everyone with his hands and walk together through a path.
Schuhplattler is a traditional folk dance from Bavaria and the Tyrol region, which includes northern Italy. It's a high-energy dance with plenty of stomping, clapping, and slapping thighs, knees, and the soles of the shoes.
For his dance, Folk S, Will You Still Love Me Tomorrow, Italian choreographer and performer Alessandro Sciarroni has injected modern elements into the traditional form.
The first time I thought about this dance was when I had this CD from Rufus Wainwright, and I saw the back of the cover, and he was dressing the Tyrolean dress, the traditional Tyrolean dress. And it was a very beautiful portrait from Sam Taylor Wood. And for the first time I thought that there was a kind of contemporary vibration in this image. So from that moment I start to think about that dance, and I start to investigate more and try to understand more things about this dance.
Like the dance Schuhplattler, choreographer Alessandro Sciarroni comes from Italy. However, he says it would be a mistake to think the traditional folk dance has any relationship with his childhood. He says that for him, creating a new piece is always about finding something new. This dance piece is called Folk S, Will You Still Love Me Tomorrow? Alessandro says that when he first decided on the name, even that was a mystery to him, but that he later became aware of the trust and love between him and the dancers, and also between them and the audience. He says the piece is about permanence and impermanence in time and feeling.
It was very important for me to respect it and to be blessed from the person that come from that regions. So what we did was to go to Tyrol and to get in contact with a real company of folk dancers. And when the first time I went there, I asked them, would you like to teach us your dance? And they said no, because they have very strict rules. So if you were not born in the same little village, you are not allowed to receive the informations. You are not allowed to learn. So I was very depressed, and I came back to my house and I wrote another email and I said, okay, but if we learn on our own and then we come back and we just ask you to say if we are dancing good or bad, would you like to say this for us? And they said yes. So we were performing for them. And finally they said, yes, you dance very well, and they loved the way we were dancing.
Not only is Alessandro using the dance in a more contemporary, less traditional way, he is also changing the rules of engagement with the audience and performers. The audience and even the dancers can leave anytime they want. There is only one rule. Once you leave, you are not allowed to return.
The dances will exist on this stage until at least one of us will be performing them, or until at least one of you will be sitting here watching them.
When you go to the theater, normally it's quite tough to leave the theater, you know. We are very polite. We don't leave the theater until the end of the show. I didn't want this to happen in this piece. I wanted people to make a choice. But for me, the question of the piece was when and how this tradition is going to finish. And of course, we don't know. The only thing that we know is that the tradition is going to finish when no one is going to be there watching it, or no one is going to be there dancing this dance anymore.
Welcome back.
The Sanskrit word kasana refers to a tiny unit of time, 1/75th of a second. That small slice of time has inspired Japanese artist Ayumi Adachi to explore our human life cycle.
On show until this Sunday at the Floating Project's art space, Influence of 0.013 features floating objects that cast shadows and influence one another.
The ukulele is a development of the Portuguese machete de Braga, which was introduced to Hawaii by Portuguese immigrants in the 19th century. The name ukulele roughly translates as jumping flea. Today, its sound is synonymous with Hawaii.
The accessibility and relative ease of playing the ukulele has made it increasingly popular in recent years. One of its preeminent players is Hawaiian musician Kimo Hussey.
Very good. See what difference it can make? And watch my hand up and down. Down, down, or. When I was a young child in Hawaii, ukuleles were very popular, and as a result of that, ukuleles were in everybody's home. So it was just as much a toy as it was a musical instrument. In fact, it was both. So it was easy for me to learn to play the ukulele at such a young age because that's the way it was in Hawaii.
Kimo Hussey was 5 when he first picked up a ukulele. He went on to study music conducting at university. Once he'd graduated from university, though, music took a back seat for a while as he joined the U.S. Air Force for a career as a pilot, taking part in many missions during the Vietnam War. Now in his 70s and retired from the Air Force, Kimo dedicates more of his time to sharing his knowledge of and expertise in the ukulele via the internet. He's also a frequent traveler and hosts workshops around the world.
A lot of the reason why I travel is because I enjoy teaching and sharing ukulele. And the people right now, especially in Asia, are so hungry to learn. And they work hard at learning and trying to develop their interest in ukulele, not only from the standpoint of learning to play the instrument, but developing certain methodologies in teaching. Asia, especially China, right now is the world's biggest producer of ukuleles.
One regular participant at Kimo's workshops is David Chen. David had graduated from York University in music technology, but on returning to Taiwan, he'd worked as a software engineer. That changed 8 years ago when he thought of the idea of using the ukulele as an aid in music therapy. Since then, he has put all his efforts into promoting the Hawaiian instrument in Asia. David said that although they are of different backgrounds and nationality, it is the ukulele that brought him and Kimo together.
So I've been looking around different teachers. And one day in a concert, in the Hawaiian ukulele picnic, and I heard a sound which really attracted me. I noticed that, wow, ukulele should be played like that way. Yeah. So I approached him, yeah, and I asked one of my friends there, I said, who is that gentleman? He said, oh, he's the Hawaiian legend. So when he mentioned that, I said, oh, I have to know this guy. So after he played, I talked to him. I said, I'm from Taiwan, and can you give me a lesson? I would like to learn from you. I really like his two-finger style. And then he gave me a lesson, and I really like the way he teach. So I invite him to come to Taiwan. So since then, we travel around. So whenever he had workshop in different countries, I always follow him to Australia, to Canada, to Korea, to Malaysia, anywhere, yeah.
And what I would add on to what David has mentioned is that the ukulele, more so than any other instrument I can think of, permits the player to easily get into the process of making music. Both David and I are experienced teachers. And because of that, whenever we spend time with beginners, within minutes of spending time with those beginners, we're actually doing songs with them because the ukulele permits that.